All right, we've been talking about exercise and anti-aging and training, getting into your older 30s and 40s. And today is all about the mistakes you're making when you're doing that. We've already talked about the impact of strength training as you age and the role of mobility training as you age. And now it's like, all right, let's take a look at what you're actually doing and hit some of the mistakes that most people make as they get into that phase. Part of it is that everything out there is kind of aimed to not rock the boat. You get on ChatGPT and you're like, how do I get into a better workout routine? And ChatGPT tells you your discipline's not the problem. Maybe you just need more structure. And it's like, well, a lot of times discipline is your problem. Or the fact that you just have to do the things that you know you have to do, even if you don't want to do them. I was talking to someone yesterday who she's so stressed out, like work, everything. She actually went through some traumatic things. She had cancer a couple of years ago, and she's been cancer free for a year or two now. And she was talking about how she has a 2-year-old. She had a 2-year-old when she was sick. She was still working. She's married. She's got just because she got cancer didn't mean like life slowed down kind of thing. Now she's going through chemo, dealing with all that. And once she's done with that, she just has felt like nothing has slowed down. And everyone's like, well, maybe you just need to take some time off the gym. And she's like, why would I do that? That's the only thing that I have for myself. That's the only thing that's giving me any relief.
I don't know why that is that way.
Isn't that crazy?
I don't know why that is that way. And let's be, you've known me long enough to know now, you know me well enough to know now, I don't do very well with sugarcoating shit.
Yeah.
Or lying about shit. I don't fucking care. Like, we got into this conversation, Sarah and I did yesterday, to like a borderline fucking argument on text because I'm tired, goddamn tired of always talking about mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't rehearse this shit. We go to, in order to keep things real, we have applicable topics that matter to our client base. Mm-hmm. And then the general pop as a whole when it comes to factual baseline things. I don't want to get into, you really should just value yourself. Fuck you. You don't fucking care. Why the fuck should I care? It's not my goddamn goal. Fuck, I got my own fucking problems. Mm-hmm. Nobody will survive this life. You got to die to leave. Okay. You're not coming out alive. That's all the fuck you need to know. Like, why it's okay for people to suggest the gym of all things.
Be the thing that
I don't and this is really going to piss some people off, but I would almost rather tell people you don't need to go to church to have faith and believe in God. I would argue that there's more fact behind that shit, objective fact behind that shit, than there is to not fucking exercise.
Yes. It makes absolutely no sense.
Even if you eat like a fucking dumbass, don't get me wrong, that's not going to help you. But you know that, don't you? Mm-hmm. We're talking about what, like at least 35 to say 50 something, yep. Right? Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. At this motherfucking point, you mean to tell me that you don't know Wendy's and all that shit, Bunko, all that shit is not going to help you? You really? No, get the fuck out of here. You liar. You fucking dummy. You know that shit. So what you really want is somebody to pat you on the back and say, it's okay. Let's be fat and miserable together. Well, dang. That's not going to fucking work.
And that's what I'm saying. I think social media and ChatGPT and, even in this case, her husband, people are they want to make you feel more comfortable instead of tell you what's right. And that kind of infiltrates into all these mistakes that we're going to go into, which is why I wanted to bring that up first. Yeah. Because then the next one is that you're underplaying, because people use that word balance. Like, it's balance. And balance is a whole different subject but a lot of people use something like that to justify getting rid of exercise in your routine.
It's a perfectly good word. People who use balance in that context were also the motherfuckers who think that life isn't fair.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
mean, you and I have argued about that
Yeah.
concept in the past too,
Yeah.
but I digress.
Well, so one mistake that people make often is that they look at daily habits as extras that really should just be part of your everyday. Like most people are sitting at a desk all day, right? A lot of people who have desk jobs are working. Part of your
They look
everyday
at daily habits that are, I'm trying to process that. What do you say now?
things that should be daily habits, they look at as extras, like going for a
Oh, okay.
walk.
I got it. That should be. Okay. I was
Yeah,
like, so are they currently doing it or not? Okay. So they're
right.
not
They're
currently
not
doing
currently doing it.
these things and they are not doing them because they think it's extra.
Right.
Okay.
Like, oh, I don't know
I'm
when
with you.
I'm going to squeeze a walk into my day. Like, what? What do you mean? You can't find 20 minutes to walk around the block a couple times, to walk around your kitchen a couple times? You know, my dad is 75 years old. I walked into his house one time and him and my stepmom were walking in circles around the house, the inside of the house. I was like, what are you guys doing? It's like, we got to get our steps. It's too, the weather was bad that day or something like that. But they were like, we got to get there. I'm like, do you guys just walk in
That's
circles, like holding hands, like you're outside? And they're like, well, yeah,
fuck yes.
yeah,
Fuck yes. Awesome.
yeah,
By any means necessary.
100%.
Shit.
Like if some people in their 70s can figure that out, I'm pretty sure you can, you
Yeah.
know? And that stuff adds up. It makes such a difference. We talked in our last one about in mobility about, you said something like people say, I've been sitting all day. I got to get up. And we said, stretch your legs. But what they really mean is go for a walk. And that's
Mm-hmm.
silly. They're not the same thing. You're not stretching your legs. You're moving.
Mm-hmm.
Movement should be part of your everyday. Movement should be a non-negotiable. If you have less than 5,000 steps in your day, that's a fucking problem. That's a problem. Get up and take one of your phone calls from work. Get a walking pad and a standing desk. Walk in circles around your house. Take your lunch break. Eat a wrap while you're taking a walk around your neighborhood for lunch. There are ways to fit that kind of stuff in. And when you don't do those kinds of things, that leads to pain because now your body is not used to moving. It's used to sitting still. When you do move, now all your joints hurt and you're thinking that movement is the problem, but really lack of movement is the problem.
And I had to look up because I couldn't remember the exact acronym, but NEAT. Do you know what the term NEAT means in the fitness business?
Yep. Non-exercise activity T.
That's why I had to look it up. Thermogenesis.
Yes.
Okay. So for all intents and purposes, NEAT activity is your day-to-day bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fantastic because it's relative to you. It is specific to you. If someone's a construction worker, morbidly obese, but works construction, labor construction. And I used to work with plenty of them back when I was a laborer at Local 6 back in the city. Okay. They'll say, why am I so fucking fat? I'm over here, I exercise every day. And it's no, the fuck you don't. That's NEAT. That's what non-exercise activity thermogenesis means. That means on a daily basis, your body is used to doing movement and you're still a fucking fat tard. Okay. So in your mind, it's normal for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. For obese people, for people who are complacent, they sit there on the couch and don't do dick. What you're doing would kill them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all you're doing is going to work. But that activity for them is a game changer. For you, it's Monday.
Yes.
So getting your steps in is marginal, but it's anything but extra. It is. I mean, how the fuck do you get to the bathroom in the morning? Do you crawl? Does somebody carry you? I mean, unless you in a wheelchair, I bet you walking. So you're already doing the shit. All that we're saying is with a little bit more intent.
Yes.
You can get trackable and tangible results. I had a former client named Antonio who we used to talk theology and shit and exercise theology also all the time. Like the fucking guy was a monster. He lost a shit ton of weight, went on his own, did his own thing, came back. And I think he ultimately left again, but I think it's because the second time around, it's because he understood that I think he could do this on his own.
Mhm.
And he's a good friend of mine too. It's like, right. But we had this conversation about he was talking about how sore he was after leg day. He was walking into Meyer and he went to step to grab a thing of Kleenex from this. They had this like setup things like this pyramid of Kleenex boxes or whatever. He leaned forward, stepped into it to pick it up. Fucking leg gave out. He fell right into the shit. Took the whole thing out. I fucking laughed my brown ass off, and he was like, "Yeah, motherfucker, that ain't funny." Like he was like laughing but not laughing.
Mhm.
And I said, you know what I'm saying? You're just not, he said, it came out of nowhere. I'm not used to it. And I was like, you know what I'm saying? The problem is, well, so where did you park at? He goes, I parked right in front. And I said, see, that's the problem. I park as far back as I can.
Mhm.
Okay. Preferably by a fucking cart return
Yes,
anywhere
always.
I go, no matter
Yes.
what. And he's like, well, why? And I was like, well, two reasons. One, you know, to me, there's two types of people. Most people talk about two types of people, those that park, you know, close to the exit or whatever, or they close to they park further away so that they don't get hit by anybody,
Mhm.
or those that'll. And I think I'm a third type of person that parks next to the cart return because
Me too.
you're going to end up there anyway, right?
Yep.
Like what the fuck. So what I'm saying is, but I park even if I know I'm not going for anything more than just a couple of items. I'll park in the back of the lot anyway, and the reason is I'm grateful to have the use of my legs. I walk. I
Yep.
fucking walk. And if I got the girls with me, my family with me, I drop them off. Then I park in the back. And then when it's time to go, I'll walk my ass out to the truck, pick them on up. But if I can walk it, I'm walking it.
Yeah.
Because one day will come where I'm going to have that handicap placard and I'm probably not even going to use it then. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because the little things,
They add up so big.
when you implement them the right way, like that, little things, it's, you know, I'm not over here saying, okay, I got 5 laps to and from the truck from the Meyer door. Like that's not what I'm saying.
Right.
But when you shift your mindset around, you know what, from now on, I'm parking in the back, period.
Mhm.
Rain, sleet, or snow, I'm parking in the back. You know what I mean? Things like that matter. And I'm not saying to be a dumbass about it. If it's, you know, downtown parking and you manage to get a front row spot,
Cool.
take advantage of the front row spot. I'm not trying to be a dickhead about it. Okay. I'm just saying, for all intents and purposes, there are moments like that hidden through your day where
Mhm.
you could get the extra shits in.
Yep.
And you don't even notice them. You're not even looking for them. But
Yeah.
if you look for bad shit, you're going to find the bad shit.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
When we go to the Blackhawks game, they have, you know, at the United Center, they have the escalators and then right next to it's the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
I take the stairs every time. Aaron will get on the elevator. Usually one of the kids will be like, I'm going with mom. And he'll come with me up the stairs. And the other one will go with him. But there's nobody ever on the stairs. I get up the stairs faster than he gets up the escalator.
Mm-hmm.
And once you start doing, and I tell people this all the time, like, it sounds so stupid, like, park farther away, take the stairs, like super cliche. But that cliche is a cliche for a reason. And not only does it increase your activity little bits that add up big, right?
Yep.
But at the same time, kind of like you said, it primes your mind to look for those things without even thinking about it. Then it doesn't seem so crazy to get up and walk around, take a couple laps around your kitchen.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem so crazy to go for a walk while you take that next call because you're used to moving.
And if you like to walk outside, it's a little bit chillier than you would like, and you're already in that mindset, it's not that much to ask yourself to throw on a hoodie. Little
100%.
things, they add up so fast.
They add up so fast.
You should know, because if you wake up one day and you're fat as fuck and you have no idea what happened, that's what happens when the little things have added up
Yep.
quickly.
And they've added up in
over
the
a
wrong
very
direction.
long period of time that you just never saw coming.
Yes. That's the thing. Those little things can add up either way. They can add up really good or really bad. And you get to control that. So the first mistake is that people look at that kind of stuff like extra instead of just part of your day. You should be going for walks. You should be parking farther away. You should be taking the stairs. Otherwise, one day you're going to walk up to a set of stairs and you're not going to be able to do it, or it's going to hurt to do it because your body doesn't ever do it.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
The next one is that people underestimate their abilities, especially as people get older. We have a lot of clients here ranging from upper 20s all the way into like 50s and 60s. And it's as people get into their upper 30s and 40s, ooh, I can't jump. It's like an immediate, and it's a joke around here. They're like, don't say
Yep.
can't around Sarah, because it's going to be the next thing
Yep.
that she has you doing, and she'll be standing there all night until you do it. And it's one thing to say, I'm not there yet. It's another thing to say, I can't do that. I'll never be able to do that.
Mm-hmm. Say that one more time for the motherfuckers in the back.
Right? Because you may not be able to do that yet, but you
Yep.
can't do it yet because you haven't executed the movements it takes to be able to do that.
I used to tell my clients especially the younger athletes, if you feel like can't means won't in my mind, but if you absolutely have to say the word can't, at least throw a yet at the end.
Yep.
At least, because that changes everything. And
Everything.
I remember dropping that on I think it was Coach Ron Palermo with Spikes when I was training and coaching me as softball teams, and he was like, "That's a fucking good ass way of looking at shit." You know what I mean? And it's something you just never think of.
Yeah. I
But
think
it's
part of
fact.
that comes from my background as a teacher, like those kinds of things where it's like, you just don't say that. It's
Yeah.
one of my biggest pet peeves. When my kids say that, I all but lose my shit.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell me you can't. That's,
And again, it's within context.
of course.
Okay.
Like if you've
Like-
had 2 knee replacements and you are lacking range of motion and you've got a lot, obviously
Yeah.
jumping is not what I'm asking you to do, but
Yeah.
there are other things you can do that we can focus on instead. But as you age, your muscle is naturally going to break down and leave your body, right? You will naturally be losing muscle.
Sarcopenia.
The only way to build muscle is with resistance training. And just like we talked about with NEAT, the more you resistance train, the more your body
Yeah.
adapts. And you have to get into what's called progressive overload, which means continuing to increase the resistance that you're using.
And the irony is, as I have found, I don't say success, but I found some success and consistency with this like 300 kind of volume, this high volume training I've been doing,
Yep.
Lately. Is it what a 48-year-old needs to be doing? For my mind, kind of is, but I know I'm not going to be getting some hypertrophic growth measurably from it. It's not about that for me though. But muscle loss happens to both men and women as they get older. End of fucking story. And what is needed, this is what I'm saying. The irony is what is truly needed for strength, muscle, and bone density is not repetition, high volume, or even intensity. It's time under tension. And isometrics now becomes your best friend. But when you lift heavy, you kind of hit both ends of the spectrum equally, meaning you go super hard, super heavy, and much shorter ranges of motion with that. But you also hit mobility and flexibility in tandem.
Yep.
Now. So you hit both ends of the spectrum as you get older, because it's not really about, your heart function, pulmonary strength now comes from that type of activity and what lean muscle requires to survive. When you're younger, you can get away with shit like sleep as another motherfucking one. You're
Yeah,
younger,
we'll
you
get there.
5-6 hours of sleep, you can rock that out. But this ain't college anymore. Like when you're older, you need to get your rest in, because that's where miracles happen. So
Yeah.
any motherfucker that's out sleeping, I'm dead. Like, yeah, like, no, you're not. You're going to be dead when you're dead.
Yeah.
And no one's, and you'll be forgotten in a couple of years. Like, the fuck out of here. Okay. So we're talking about right now.
Right.
So
For
getting
people-
that, the time under tension, don't overcomplicate movements, but the time under tension matters. Now, we had talked about mobility, functional training, efficiency, and all of that a little while back, and lunges versus a squat, or all these other sexy movements that you'll see people doing that are very, very complicated to do on your own. Now, that is not something that you need to necessarily overload, and you can't really progressively overload it anyway, because complex compound rotational movements, if you're talking about back strength, back integrity,
Mhm.
to load that shit is just fucking stupid. I wouldn't do that on a young buck, let alone an older person. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? But the goal is to use that kind of movement as a middle ground almost. Right?
Yeah.
You prep the joints, muscle elasticity, you prep the joints flexibility and so on, and either a warm up or flat out, 15 minutes a day is your daily warm up just to live.
Yep.
That's what keeps you from cramping up and being that person that sounds like a fucking box of firecrackers every time you get out of a chair, out of the bed in the morning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, and then when you actually go to train, you have a focused intent on putting the muscle under tension for a specific amount of time and then utilizing said growth in those movement patterns.
Yes. People underestimate both sides of that. You'll see somebody pick up a 15-pound dumbbell for a goblet squat where you hold it in front of your chest and squat. And it's like, I've been training you for a year. I know you don't still need that 15-pound dumbbell. Like you can afford to up it a little bit comfortably to a point where you're pushing yourself and challenging yourself, not hurting yourself, but also not going easy on yourself. And if you're holding that same 15-pound dumbbell for the next 5 years, you're going to see your progress not only stall out, but
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to get any stronger. And on the mobility side of it, people will see a Turkish get up and be like, oh, no, I can't do a Turkish get up. Are you crazy? I can barely get up off the floor as it is. It's like, again, let's go back to this can't thing, right? All right, if we're not at the Turkish get up yet, let's start with the Turkish startup. We'll get you up to the side plank. And then once you're good there, we'll get you up to the kneeling. And then once you're good there, eventually we'll get you standing up.
Mm-hmm.
But those types of things are so, so, so necessary for joint health and just for naturally moving during the day, from existing. Yeah. Those are the types of things that make it easier to get out of bed or off the couch or to get on the floor and play with your kids or your grandkids. Those are the types of things, like if you want to be able to do those things, those normal everyday things, these are the type of things you should be doing in the gym. So if you're staying in your comfort zone of just hitting the machines with the bicep curls and the leg extensions, maybe a leg press every once in a while, you need to venture out and get some of that mobility in, because that's going to make all of the difference in how your everyday feels.
Training for aesthetics when you get older is fucking stupid.
Yeah, it's.
I shouldn't say that.
I mean, I think it's fair to have an aesthetic.
That.
Yeah.
They mistake the focus for the result.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, we've got a lot of people in their 40s who have aesthetic goals. They want to lose 20 pounds, this, that, and the other. And I'll get into some of those mistakes too, because there's mistakes that you make there also.
That's a semantic statement losing 20 pounds. You said, what was the reason for that?
That could go either way, aesthetic,
like they want to look better?
Yeah.
So to me, looking better is a byproduct. You're going to feel better.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people say they want to feel better, but then they let themselves become obsessed with the scale, or how they're, people, this right here in your armpit, people like go crazy about. It's like everybody has that skin. Like you can't say out of one side of your mouth that I'm doing this to feel good, and out of the other side of the mouth, be obsessed with the scale.
What about armpit?
This people like this that everybody has right next to your tank top. Like what? Why are we even
women or men?
Women.
So the women are mad they've got tits. Is that what you're telling me?
This is not tits. I don't have any tits, and I still have this armpit stuff.
That's part of the tits. I don't give a fuck. That's on your chest.
It's normal. It's just
it's
skin.
On your chest. It's a tit. Fuck out of here. You said I don't have any tits. The fuck.
Okay. I don't. They're so little.
Oh, God. Well, you still got tits. That's part of the fucking tit, okay? Fuck out of here.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
But still, like...
I should have hung up right there.
What?
That'd have been totally funny. You said, okay, bye. There's a click. You'd have been like, what the fuck?
But they're two different things, and that's fine. But we can't get confused by those two things. So you're underplaying habits, you're underestimating your abilities. The next one is a lot of times a big mistake is you either recover too much or not enough. And especially as you get into your 40s, recovery is so important because as you're losing muscle, naturally, part of your goal in the gym is to keep as much of that muscle as you can. And in some cases, even make new muscle to make up for muscle that you've already lost.
Yeah. And
muscle
they
is...
They underplay the steps necessary, a proper recovery protocol.
Yes.
They don't understand that it's not just about the muscle. It is for your nervous system.
And it's detrimental either way, right? If you don't recover enough, if you're going balls to the wall every single day, now you're getting to a point where you're not able to recover. Your body is always going to hurt. You're not going to be building any new muscle, and you're basically going to be aging yourself faster instead of slower. But on the flip of it, you could say the same thing about recovering too much and giving yourself too much. Be like, I'm so stressed out, I think I need a break. No, you don't. Or I was talking to someone the other day who's got some issues going on with her foot. It's just the top of her foot. It's just certain movements. It sounds like it's connected all the way up. You know, she's got some other imbalances that she's dealing with that I'm sure have led to this pain in her foot. But her doctor's like, yeah, you just got to take like the next 2 months off exercise. And I'm like, okay, take this for what it is. I'm not a doctor. But there are 500 different ways that we could keep you active in this gym right here without bothering that pain. And in fact, working on some of those muscular imbalances to make the pain not come back. So, and that goes back to how the world is built to appease you. There's no reason for you to completely take off the gym because part of your foot hurts in some movements. That's insane. That is insane. It's holding you back. It's keeping you from making progress. And it's putting you in a brain space that says exercise isn't important. I can put it on the back burner, which is going to fuck you for a long time. Or people refuse to come to class on days that are focused on mobility or stretching because they're like, that's just not a good workout. I'm not sweating. I don't feel like I'm doing anything. It feels kind of like a waste. And again, it's like, okay.
Yeah, if you're in your 20s, you might be onto something.
But come on, you're in your 40s.
We're not talking about your 20s.
Yeah, then guess what? They're in class the next day saying, oh, my low back. And they're like, didn't see a stretch mobility class yesterday.
the mobility should be done more than just one class.
Of course. Well, mobility is worked into every class.
But
there's one day that
if they want to do exercise that is worthy of the word exercise or good workout in their vocabulary, and they want to go and just catch an ass whipping, one, they can go anywhere. If they want to do that shit without pain or actually be able to do it in the first fucking place without, instead of being bedridden because you fuck something up, then those non-workout days are necessary. Again, this is the mindset thing, but not a mindset thing. This is common sense thing. Please tell me you fucking know that. You know what I mean? As an adult, yes. You've got to know that as you get older. It's more than just jokes that fucking, hey, I can't go down the stairs. I can't. Well,
you should be able to.
Like, yeah, I get it. Yeah. I'm almost 50, motherfuckers. So I get it. You bitches can't say dick to me. The only thing you could say shit about to me that I can't really speak on is perimenopause and menopause because I ain't a fucking woman. Instead, I have quarter, mid, 8th, 16th, 3/4 life crises every fucking Monday for some fucking reason. So I got my own goddamn problems too. Fuck you. You don't see me over here making no goddamn excuses. All right? So I don't want to hear anything about fucking workout. Cool. like that's your opinion. Good for you, and I thank you for sharing that with me. I didn't ask for it. Go fuck yourself. Then don't bitch when you're still fucking beeping when you back up. And the easiest way for you to get out of bed is to just fucking roll the fuck over, say a prayer, and hold your breath. Because good for fucking you. That's what you get, bitch. Okay. Sooner or later, it's going to catch up to you. Man.
Yeah.
And if it never ever does, congratulations, you're Superman. But you wouldn't be getting help and seeking a community of people who want to put work in if that was you. So that brings me back to point A. Shut the fuck up. Enjoy the big things by getting at the little things first. I mean, shit. Act like you wouldn't fuck a dick if it started small. Growers matter too, bitch ass. Start small. Big things come from little things. Don't act like you ain't. Yeah. It was small at first, but I took a chance and bam, just my life changed. Act like you don't fucking know. Get your ass out of here. Stupid. You know I'm right too. That's the motherfucker over. I got analogies and metaphors for fucking days.
I know.
Sooner or later I'll spit one out that's just gonna make you be like, God damn. Like how many people did it hit when I talked about sitting on somebody's dick when you're working on a back squat? I was just gonna say that. Fuck out of here.
Somebody was in class the other day squatting. She's like, all I could think about now when I squat is that. I was like, yeah, I know.
Yeah. You start finding yourself squatting and you looking back. Oh, shit.
It works. You're not wrong. One of the things I read, too, that is really bad for me, I'm the worst person to speak on sleep because I am just in an era right now where I don't sleep. And I'm fine with that and whatever.
You're also not in your 40s either, asshole.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Your fucking eyelashes are creeping up, though. I'll tell you what, they're at least into their 41, 42 range. You're just getting ahead of yourself with them motherfuckers. Do they announce your arrival when you walk into a place first?
They don't need to.
Sir. Hi, guys. Oh.
Blowing in the wind. But I've read in a couple places that less than 7 to 9 hours of sleep can negatively impact muscle protein synthesis by up to 18%.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot. And muscle protein synthesis is when your body makes new muscle tissue. So you're working yourself to hell in the gym thinking like, I'm going to be so buff. I'm going to have all these toned up muscles. And then you don't sleep and you're wondering why you don't make any progress.
Mm-hmm.
You got to prioritize stress and finding a way to get yourself to sleep. But at the same time, you gotta make sure that you're also not doing too much. Like you got to take care of yourself on both ends of the spectrum. You can't make excuses and let yourself rest for no reason, but you can't, go balls to the wall and think that you never have to rest. That's a place where I'd say you'd have to find balance.
And I'm not saying that. Sometimes you just got to fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm in a workout phase, or was, I'm trying to bounce out of it now because it gets addicting to get in, get it out. I didn't mean that. That was actually an accident. That was funny.
For once.
It gets addicting when you get used to the simplicity of just popping a 20 to 30 minute, maybe even a 35-minute workout.
Mm-hmm.
You kick your own ass, even if you put the exercises in a very smart and efficient, functional way. Again, older folks, we need to get time under tension. And while and hypertrophic focused workouts don't need, honest to God, they don't need to be that long. You could damage your whole fucking world in 20 minutes tops.
Easily. I mean, not easily, but
one body part, maybe even 15 minutes, because there's only so much a one singular body part can do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So if you don't know, or you're not sure if what we're saying is true, then fucking try it. Go for a week, trying to do just ass whipping after ass whipping after ass. You know what I'm saying? You'll feel the good parts. You'll feel the bad. You may even want to hit it another week thinking that wasn't that bad. And then what you'll notice is week after week after week, what you'll find is it's expensive in terms of maintenance. It's a high maintenance effort to do it that way, because you start now, and not only do you still have the weight, do you still have the fat, do you still have the da da da, but now you have an appetite that you can't keep up with because your metabolism is just not fucking working the way that it is, that you
Mm-hmm.
wanted it to. You're probably not going to be regular. And let's assume that if that's not the case, and by some miracle of Jehovah, your fucking diet is money, cool. And if by some miracle of Jehovah and his daddy, your sleep is fucking money, you're still not going to build solid muscle. Your strength will be conditional. Your endurance will be conditional. And it's high maintenance now, because if you stop doing that intensity each day or every other day or whatever you're trying to do, you'll notice that when you do recover or switch gears to a different workout, certain shit's going to be hard for you.
Yep.
And when you're younger, that's exercise specificity. Ask any swimmer to start doing deadlifts, they'll fucking fail. Ask any biker to try to swim a couple of laps, they'll drown. Ask a power lifter to try to swim 5 laps. All you'll see is a fucking bunch of dead meat, face down, ass up.
Yes.
Right? Specificity. So when you get older, it's about, we talk about functionality, it's use the muscles, train the muscles for longevity and strength on your day-to-day basis.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily for what you need to do for your job, because fuck that, they'll replace you in a week, but more about what you need for your day. Cross that up with what you feel like you need to make yourself, feel better. If you're sitting at a desk, obviously you get mobile. You got like the Christmas commercial, whatever, with the old dude picking up the kid.
Yep.
Like, things like that do matter, but intensity is not always going to be your friend.
Yes, and intensity doesn't have to be the name of the game for your workout. We've got, actually, it's funny that you said that about specificity. We have one here who's, she was a collegiate swimmer and swam her whole life. And I had them running outside the other day, like
Dead.
a lot. She came in, she goes, I wasn't made for land. She's like, that she was struggling so hard, even though her cardio endurance would be money in a pool. Like, she could swim all day.
Yep.
Take it to the land, and she struggled hard.
Yeah.
I there were a couple of years ago, before I was even here, there was a bar studio, bar 3, that type of workout. They were doing pop-up workouts, and I'm used to like strength training, right? That's my favorite thing. To go to a bar class and be pulsing through squat, I mean, that's a lot of pulsing, a lot of isometrics. I was humbled in the first 3.5 minutes. It was so fucking hard. We've got, and when you talk about training for your everyday life, we've got one, Karen, she's got a bunch of grandchildren now, and she's got a pretty decent history of back issues that have really hindered her in the past.
Face first on that tire. It's amazing. I have that video still.
But she, there's been so many times now that she's come back from a trip to visit with her grandkids, and she's like, Sarah, I carried my 2-year-old granddaughter around the whole time, and my back doesn't bother me at all. We went on a hike, and I was carrying them on and off.
Yep.
My back didn't hurt at all. Yep. We were walking around the house. She was fussy all day. I was carrying her, my back. That's the kind of stuff you train for. Now, Karen's not in here. She's not one that's in here like wanting to sweat and almost die in every workout.
No, that is not Karen.
She's one who wants to come in. She wants to do the work. She wants to leave here feeling good. And more important than leaving here feeling good, she wants to be able to go do things like that and feel good and not have to worry about it. She wants to be able to run without pain. And the things that we do here support that. It's not always a balls to the wall intense, like you got to feel like you're about to die to make it a workout. Some days people like that and it's fun and whatever, but the overall goal is everyday life.
Well, see, okay, so here's the issue. I don't know how to phrase this, so I'll just fucking spit it out like a quitter. when you strength train, and we're talking about time under tension, you do need to wrap your head around the fact that going to failure is more common than it was when you were younger, because as you age, the limits change disproportionately to basic ass evolution.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about genes. It's more about what you've done with your life and what your day-to-day routine is and how you've set up your neat exercises, right? So I'm saying when you feel, you can go to exhaustion and failure without that meaning that you're doing fucking burpees for a mile.
Yes.
Okay, box jumps for 15 minutes straight without fucking falling, or 1,000 Jacob's ladder rounds, bicep curls. Seemingly fucking stupid, right? Let's just say you take a barbell and you just straight barbell curl, right? Slow and controlled, nothing crazy, good breathing, right? And you don't fucking start, you got a set of 10, but you don't start counting said set of 10 until you can barely lift it halfway. Then you start counting 10. And you realize that just holding the bar feels like you're going to fucking cramp. You feel like your soul wants to leave your body. For some reason, at least for me, when I go to failure on bicep curls, I feel like I got menstrual cramps. Like I want to puke. I want to keel the fuck over. I'm standing still lifting this weight, and for some reason, I'm out of fucking breath.
Yeah.
It makes no damn sense at all. Like I'm not going nowhere except crazy. It fucking hurts so bad. And instantly I'm gushing sweat. I'm bleeding out my ass. I'm asking Jesus why. It's fucked up. And I realize I've totally fucked myself for the day. Because now I can't wipe my ass. I can't hold my kids. If I want to have some private time by myself, I can't do that either. Fuck. Just, but in a couple of days, as soon as I get that protein in and I rest right, all of a sudden I got a nice pump, and it starts to stay there, and that strength stays there. And it's not like it goes away like the conditioning would if I'm just going super intense from the point of, from the vantage point of cardio intensity.
Yes.
Or high volume or time driven only intensity. Like that's, you know what I'm saying? That's not what I mean, but you can still get a lasting quote unquote pump with specific exercises by going to failure. So you still go to the intensity and the exhaustion. You just do it in a different way.
It's a different type of intensity, right?
Yeah.
The bicep curl intensity.
Oh, worse. I don't care what anybody says.
For sure. My favorite bicep curl intensity is with the flex bar. If you just rep out, 150 flex bicep curls, it's that same type of thing.
Yeah.
Everything's burning.
Yeah.
Like, why am I out of breath doing bicep curls?
And it's not the movers, the prime movers either with the flex bar. What's one of our fit kits where it's the band targets tendon fascial strength.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about tensile strength. You're talking about, you'll start seeing shit like, if you start hurting in the shoulders, then you're dysfunctional.
Yes.
So you can adjust the form and whatnot, right?
Yeah. But
when you don't have, like, the band work is different than dumbbell work. And again, biceps it's an odd muscle because the range of motion is somewhat limited. You don't, anything past that when you get acute past, say 70 degrees, it's like, this is nothing, right? Up here's nothing.
Right.
But when you go to get the meat of the workout and you're getting that primary range of motion where your bodies can balloon up and you start to, like that's the range where you start to actually pick shit up, you can feel something bad. And them flexes, gravity plays a funny trick with you. Also, when you do strict curls, it changes things and you don't have the opportunity to rock and roll. You can start using your back or the wall or a strict bar as leverage. But yeah, that's.
Well, yeah, there's a difference between, you can still give your muscles intensity without jumping up and down and, the type of intensity you think of when you think of like a boot camp, right?
Mm-hmm.
Intensity can come, just like you said, from going till failure in your muscles in any exercise.
Yeah.
So yeah, that I did. That's what I meant. Karen's not the kind who likes the intensity of throwing yourself at the floor in a burpee 100 times in a row, but she can appreciate the intensity of 100 shoulder circles with a band. So that's recovery, which we got a little on a tangent on that one, but that's okay. Now, I would say one of the biggest mistakes that people make as they're getting into their 40s when they're trying to stay young is that they downplay the role of nutrition in the anti-aging process. And
particularly with alcohol, I assume.
Alcohol and protein, for sure. Like, you have to make sure you get enough protein. I will say, in the tons and tons and tons and tons of custom programs I've written, in the clients that I've worked with on nutrition, in all the clients that I've worked with in the gym, I have not barely ever met one that gets enough protein, even when they think they do. Then you log it out and you're like, girl, that's still only like 75 grams of protein. Like, we got to get that up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So protein is extremely important, especially as you get into your 40s when you're losing muscle, because you need protein in order to build that new muscle. You need it. And
but the irony is, people need protein as much as they need to de-stress as a parasympathetic response.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you need both to recover. If you don't have them both, it won't work. You can get all the protein you want in the world, but
if you
that
don't
nervous
sleep,
system, that PS nervous system, is what will help you, is what allows the muscles to do so. But if you can't ever just relax and let shit do what it's supposed to do, it don't matter how much protein you're getting in. And I think that's a whole other conversation, but that's a situation where you have a legitimate shot at saying, I've tried everything and it's not working. And even then, that would be, have you tried de-stressing? And like I said, whole other conversation. But the fact that we know of it, and I can speak on it, as from not only experience on both sides of the table, but that's just another reason for you to shut the fuck up.
I mean, long story short,
I just don't like excuses. I'm sorry, I can't.
No, and I'm the same. The other part of, like, whole versus processed food, people look at low calories versus better calories. Like, that's such a struggle, because whole food and processed food are very different, and they affect your body so differently. And I was talking to somebody about this just the other day, brand new custom client. She's like, I don't really eat that much right now. And I'm like, okay. She's like, I'm probably actually under eating. I say, okay, here's the thing with under eating. You have one meal from, you're taking your kids home from baseball. You haven't eaten all day. You stop at McDonald's. One meal at McDonald's, 1,500, 2,000 calories.
Oh my God.
Now, it probably doesn't feel like you ate that much today because it was one meal, but that one meal is 2,000 calories. Then even if you did have your normal, say even 700 calories from whatever you had for breakfast and lunch, now you've blown your calories out for the day if you're in a weight loss phase. So did you eat a lot? No. Does it feel like you underate? Maybe, because you didn't eat very often today. But the stuff you ate was very calorie dense, right?
You ate a lot at the wrong time. Dietary measures cannot be, your goals cannot be accomplished in peaks and valleys. Because if that valley goes for too long, you're not going to have enough bumps to get up the next peak.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You need speed bumps. Boom, boom, boom. You just keep moving, keep moving,
yes.
keep moving.
Now, whole food is much less calorie dense. It's going to take a lot more chicken and rice to get to that 2,000 calories than it is French fries. So now you feel like you're eating so much because it's a bigger volume of food, but really not only are the calories less, they're better balanced and they have more nutrients.
But it's not fun.
It's not fun. And we put a reel out the other day that said sometimes food is just boring. Sometimes it's going to be boring. Sometimes eating will be boring. Mm-hmm. That is okay. There is nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
Food, we've gotten into this culture of food always has to be fun. It's got to be in a cool box, or it's got to have this beautiful presentation on the plate. No, it just has to be fuel. Food, I was talking to somebody about this morning. She's like, she's doing our macro challenge. She's been counting macros religiously for 3 weeks. First week, down 6 pounds. Boom. Second week, up 5 pounds. But she hadn't gone to the bathroom or whatever. She went to the bathroom. Good. Lost 3 of them again. So now she's at a net loss of like 4 pounds over 3 weeks. And she's like, I'm getting frustrated because I feel like I'm counting everything. I'm measuring everything. I'm weighing everything. But when you go back and look at her logs, it's not all whole food. There's a lot of stuff in there, bread and, and of course, none of it's good. Protein pancakes, like things like that are pre-made in a package. And I said, look, you need to take, and that was part of the macro challenge anyways, that she was supposed to be doing whole food in the first place. I'm like, you need to take the next 2 weeks and focus on whole food only and see what that does.
Yeah.
And then she said, so my only option is eat bland or don't lose weight.
That's the thing. You could spice shit up.
I said that, number one. Of course you could spice
she
stuff
married?
up. Yeah, and she should know that because she cooks all the time.
Well, she should know that because that's what married life is like. She can get bland as fuck sometimes. Sometimes you got to spice it up. That's why we role play. Fuck out of here. Have anyone talked to you about your updated car insurance, extended warranty? Miss, is your husband home? No? Oh, can I come in? Bam! Instant excitement. Like, yo, you can spice shit up. Throw some fucking hot sauce on it, goddamn. You know what I mean?
But also, I'm like, think about what you just said, though. Think about what you just said. Now it's all of a sudden weird to eat real food. That's the bad thing. That's the thing that you're not willing to do. That's the like outlandish extra is that, wait, you're expecting me to eat real food? Yeah, I am. That's your body was not intended to eat all that processed chemical shit. And so, there probably is some level of inflammation that is keeping you from losing weight the way that you want to. There probably is. And even if you do think you're logging religiously and you're measuring and weighing everything out appropriately, the way you're measuring might be off from what the box said. Like, eat whole food, real food, nutrient dense food, food that your body is made to digest.
That you can use for the
that you can
fun
actually
workouts.
use.
Yeah.
That is we could do an entire episode on processed food. That is insane. It's disgusting. But the people who have eaten whole food and, we did this macro challenge and they had to stick to whole foods, no alcohol, macros that I set for them for 30 straight days. I'm telling you, these are people who have been struggling to lose weight for months who lost 10, 15 pounds like that in 4 to 6 weeks just from eating real food in the right balance. Didn't change anything about their workouts. Didn't change anything with their NEAT. Nothing. They ate real food in the right proportions and they lost weight. Period.
And we wish it could tell you that it'll happen like super fast, but it won't. Same thing with trying to retrain your nervous system and battling elevated cortisol. I mean,
it takes time.
These are battles that you just can't see. Especially when I have to tell you that the easiest way to combat a stress relief is just to control your breathing. Like, the fuck, like how can I, how, you know what I'm saying? Like how, that's the truth. But people would rather pop pills. You know what I mean? Take my word for it about changing your breathing patterns and towards your rest patterns and your decompression patterns to help cortisol.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes. And right along with that, and you mentioned it when I first studied nutrition, is alcohol. Alcohol will crush all of your goals, especially in your 40s. All the time, even in your 20s. But in your 20s, your body will eventually make up for it because it's still running fast and optimal. No matter what you do by the time you hit your 40s, it's just not as optimal as it was. And that's just biology. That's how it works. But when you drink alcohol, it literally stops all other metabolic processes in your body until the alcohol is out of your blood. And that could take anywhere from 24, 48, 72 hours, depending on how much you drink. And so now everything that you ate for the last 3 days is at a standstill in your system and getting stored away as fat because your body is prioritizing getting the poison out of it.
but we do it because we like how it makes us feel, and it's
Either we
instant. It don't take
or
much more than a shot to drop your drawers and go for the first ugly dude you can find. We all know it. We all know it.
and sometimes it's out of habit, right? You have a glass of wine with dinner, but yeah, it's not
What?
worth it. You know, a lot of people are like, well, I just have a glass of wine with dinner every night, or I have.
Yeah,
It's
every
like
night. That's
it's like people who smoke and they just get in the car and it's just
and
like a habit to pull out a
that's
cigarette.
okay. You want to do that, cool. If you're aware of what
Oh,
it does to you, cool,
hmm
fucking cool. Like we're not gonna tell anybody, what, like, we're not gonna make you live your life a certain way. All we could do is give you the basics of what to expect. You can,
and
it's your choice to walk that path, man. You
that's
know,
what I tell people all the time.
just don't fucking get your fucking pussy hurt when you do dumb shit. We warn you about it. Tell you if you're gonna do the dumb shit, you're gonna get made fun of. Like I'm not gonna give you any sympathy.
Yes. If you are cool with what that does or
Yep.
doesn't do for you, then fine,
Yep.
go for it.
Cool.
But at some point, especially in your 40s, yes, the fact of it is, if you are making a habit of sitting at a brewery on a Saturday afternoon with your husband and enjoying a couple beers, that will affect your progress and it will continue to affect your progress. Yes, once you are in your 40s and your metabolism is slowed down, no matter how hard you work during the week, if you want to be lackadaisical about nutrition on your weekends, you will not lose weight. It will hinder your progress 100%.
And people will justify, oh, what, I hate them dumbass jokes. They'll be like, watch how the trainer just walked in. Better not eat this or drink
Oh my
this.
God.
You know, and it's like, dude, do what you got to do. I don't give a fuck. Like, you know what I'm saying? But it's not. I've had clients in the past that would say, I'll make up for it by doing an extra mile or some extra reps on this and that. Like, cool. Like, at least your mindset is, what you're doing ain't gonna
Mhm.
help. So I'd rather have that mindset than justifying the shit just to save the right to complain about it later.
Yep. And
You know
then
what I mean?
back to sugarcoating, a lot of people it'd be like, your exercise isn't punishment for what you ate. No, it doesn't,
It's the
it's
cost.
science.
Shit,
If you
it's the
ate extra,
cost.
you
You
burn
want to eat,
extra.
pay the cost.
Exactly. If you want to eat more and you want to burn it off, then you need to move more.
But
It's
it also,
science.
especially if it's alcohol, it doesn't necessarily touch. Saying I'll do extra this or that
It doesn't help alcohol.
doesn't explain nor do justice to not just how it sets you back, but what it withholds, what it stops you from doing, which is capitalizing on a week's worth of progress. So it's not like you can really just do some extra shit and get it back.
Yeah.
Unless you plan on starving yourself to death, then you have nothing to store. And even then you go into starvation mode and end up storing fat anyway. Like, you
Right.
know what I mean? Fat is not the devil here. Fat is not the bad guy. Fat is necessary.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But you got to use the shit the right way.
Right.
But again, that's a whole other thing, I guess. An hour later,
Yeah.
we're still talking about the same shit. Fuck.
Well, yeah. So, anyways, those are the biggest mistakes you make when you're training in your 40s. What it is going to come down to is be realistic about it and stop sugarcoating stuff for yourself. Stop letting yourself slide where you know you shouldn't. You know the things that you're letting yourself get away with and the things that you need to get better at. And don't let anybody else convince you that it's okay. Don't justify the stupid shit. Move. Move your body with intention and fuel your body right.